I don't think that it's going to be a situation where everyone's sitting there looking at, the score being this complete blowout when the Ravens come into Highmark Stadium. Now, on the flip side, the question mark for me is this. The question mark for me is when you get into the conversation as far as where the Bills are right now, are your playmakers going to step up based on the chemistry that you've built over this time? We've seen, what you could do against the Broncos. Okay, can you replicate that performance against the Ravens? Because if you can, well, the narrative changes then. And the narrative changes because everyone right now feels like whoever wins this game goes on to the Super Bowl. That's the narrative right now. Yes, we know Patrick Mahomes, and we understand how great he's been, and he's the Super Bowl champion, and we get it. We respect it. We acknowledge it. But right now, when we talk about fierce competition, because that's what the name of this episode is today, competition, when we look at the competition and when we look at what's on the line and who's hungry for it and who wants it the most right now, the battle is between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. So guess what? Whoever wins this game goes on to the championship against, could be the Texans, could be the Chiefs. But if it is the Chiefs, guess what? It's more so the Chiefs being the underdog, because out of these two are probably the best teams in the AFC right now. These two teams are the top two best teams in the AFC right now. Now, where you place them is questionable. I do think that the Bills win over the Broncos was a little bit more significant than the Ravens over the Steelers. But that is subjective because the situation with Russell Wilson and him being out of his prime, and then you got a rookie quarterback who's never been to the playoffs, so let's just call it a wash. Let's call it a wash. But I do think that the Bills win over the Broncos was a little bit more significant than the Steelers because of the expectation that Lamar and Henry have going into that game. So we'll table that there for a moment as I hop into the chat. Says Stafford does not have the arm anymore to get into a shootout. If he goes to a shootout, Philly goes to the predominant shooter. We'll see. We'll see. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and underestimate Matt Stafford. Playoff time, I think it's different. Regular season, right? If he's got to, I think go through the motions to get to the playoffs, it may be too much. But now you're looking at, playoff Matt Stafford, and he's someone that I wouldn't sleep on. I wouldn't sleep on him. Not at all. Shout out to Sassy, says y'all be complaining when you got the warm bodies and pets to keep y'all warm. Stop it. I have a heating pad. Good morning. Shout out to you, Sassy. She's like, stop complaining, Jay. You got a warm body and a whole bunch of blankets. All right. Sassy, it's cold. I ain't even gonna hold. It's cold. It's cold. Just get you one of those body pillows. Get you one, and then as the longer you hold it, the more it'll heat up. Or you could put the heating pad in the body pillow, right? Get that nice, good warmth. Good morning to you, Sassy. I appreciate you. YBK says, I'm really impressed with the Texans this year, just like the Commanders. I believe it'll be some really great games. For sure. I do think, all these teams have the opportunity to win. So this is probably one of the most interesting divisional, matchups that we've had in years. And so, coming into these predictions, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. As far as Eagles Rams, like I said, I'm taking the Eagles by 3. But as we get into these Ravens Bills, this is where the conversation's going to get wild. Because we've seen what the Ravens did regular season. And I know y'all love to talk about it. I know that's where y'all want to go. Well, the Ravens did this to the Bills. And, well, the Ravens were at home. They were supposed to win. They were supposed to do what they did. This Bills team was not in the right state. This Bills team had significant injuries, and there was really no chemistry built as far as this organization heading into that time. Well, fast forward to now, the Bills look playoff and championship ready. So the conversation now shifts into, well, who's going to have the best performance of the night? Is it going to be Derrick Henry steamrolling the Bills defense? Is it going to be Josh Allen marching up and down that field with a mix of the pass and the run, getting Cook involved? Who's going to make that significant game-changing play? Is there going to be this ridiculous fumble that happens that nobody expected that gets scooped up and taken to the house? Or is it going to be a pick involved here where somebody, bobbles a ball, it gets picked off, and that changes the momentum of the game? That is what we're looking at when it comes to this. Because you've got so many people out there that's looking to be not only a game changer, but a team player. Both sides understand their role. Both sides understand their commitment to the game. And both sides have a dream right now of getting to the show. Like I said, everyone's saying how these two teams, whoever wins out of this, will go on to win the Super Bowl or potentially play in the Super Bowl. And here we are. Shout out to you, Darth. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's get into it. So the spread, as the Ravens are now favored. The Bills opened favored by 1, and now it's switched to the Ravens favored by 1. And that's why I wanted to wait until today to do these predictions, because I know by Wednesday, Thursday is when they really adjust the lines and have things figured out going into the weekend. So now the Ravens are favored by 1 on the road, heading into Highmark Stadium. The over-under is 51.5. The money line is -115. The Bills +1, and the money line is -105. That shows you right there how close this is, how tight this game will be. And that's why I said what I said earlier in regards to this game being a 1-play or 2-play situation that changes everything, right? That one thing or that one situation that happened in this game. And we very well could be talking about that one thing that happened that just changed the whole game going into this one. Matchup predictor, 49.7% for the Ravens, 50.3% for the Bills. I want to get into both performances as far as in their last playoff game. So as we do that, Lamar Jackson, he had an 84.3 QBR, 76.2% on the completion percentage, 175 passing yards, and then 2 touchdowns in these playoffs. Now that's against the Steelers. His long was 49. Yeah, 49. Let's get into this game here. Pull up these stats. Look at his face. Let me get the stats here. Where we at? We're going down. Other side. Come on, Jay. Hurry up. Get it together. All right, 175 yards. He averaged 8.3, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 1 time for 10 yards, 84.3 on the QBR. Derrick Henry, 26 carries, 186 yards, 7.2 on the average. He had two touchdowns as well. His long was 44. Lamar was 15 carries of 81 yards. His average was 5.4. Long was 20. We looked at the Steelers defense and what they were able to not do. TJ Watt was not existent in this game. So unfortunately, when we think about the Steelers and what they should have done and how productive, we expected them to be, it wasn't there on either side of the field. And so I look at this a little different, especially when it comes to the run, because the Steel Curtain was supposed to have a good task at, trying to not stop Henry, but at least contain him. And Henry ran out there like a wild man. He was unstoppable. He was smiling as running. And so that tells you all you need to know as far as that goes. But then when we come into Lamar, right, doing his thing, playing his same game. He had 81 yards on the ground. He had 175 in the air. Obviously, Ravens win it 28-14. So then we get into Allen, right? Allen in these playoffs, 87.8 on the QBR, 76.9 on the completion percentage. He had 272 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. We get into this game here with Denver. Pull up the stats. Allen he was 10.5 on the average, 20 of 26. He had 2 sacks for a loss of 11, 87.8 on the QBR. Allen 8 of 46, 5.8. His average, his long was 9. Cook had 23 carries for 120 yards, 5 points on the average for 1 touchdown. Bills won 31-7. And that's why I said, when you break down the stats and when you start looking at everything between these two games, you start to say, okay, well, I think that the Bills against the Broncos win was a little bit more significant than the Ravens versus the Steelers. I'm not sure if the Steelers should have even been in the playoffs amongst the Chargers, amongst the Packers. They weren't ready, obviously. So there you go. When you look at those stats, that kind of gives you the tail of the tape as far as where Lamar and Allen stand. And looking forward into this game, who's going to make the mistake? Josh had no picks in the first playoff game, and Allen or Lamar had no picks in the first game. Jackson took 1 sack for 10 yards. Allen took 2 sacks for 11. It's right there. It's neck and neck. Derrick Henry had 186 yards on the run. James Cook had 120 on the run. So let's even look at the receiving corps, right? We look at Isaiah Likely, 3 receptions for 53 yards. Mike Andrews, 2 of 27. Aguilar, 1 for 25. Bateman, 2 for 24. Justice Hill, he had 4 for 13. Miller, 3 for 12. We then get back into the Bills on the receiving side of things. Curtis Samuel, 3 of 68. Khalil Shakir, 6 of 61. Dalton Kincaid, 3 for 47. Dawson Knox, 2 for 38. Ty Johnson, 2 for 26. A lot of people have been talking a lot of garbage as far as, well, Josh Allen ain't going to be able to throw against that Baltimore defense. Guess what? Josh Allen going to throw against that Baltimore defense. He's going to throw against that defense because he believes in his wide receivers. He believes in that chemistry he has built. And these guys are team players. Guess what? I can't get it to Samuel. All right, I'm going to get it to Shakir. I can't get it to Shakir. Kincaid's down there. He going to catch the ball. Oh, you got Kincaid locked? We going to get Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox going to make us some plays. Johnson going to get involved. Mac Hollins go. Listen, there is a lot that Josh Allen gets to utilize in this game. And it's going to be very different from what it was in the regular season coming into Highmark Stadium now. This is the payback time. Yes, you beat us. You beat the hell out of us in the beginning of the season. We're not going to let that happen again. You coming into our home. You coming into a different team. I got my defense back. I got this offense working. It's going to be a good one, y'all. I know where y'all want me to go with this, but I ain't going there with it. I'm not going there with it. I'm going to tell you right now. where we're going with this one. They say it's going to be a 1-point game. I don't think it's going to be a 1-point game. I'm taking the Bills by 14. Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yes, I did. I'm taking the Bills by 14 at home. Yes. Don't argue with me about it. Argue with your mama. Talk to your daddy about it. Your friends, your family. I'm taking the Bills 14 at home. This is the revenge game. This is the revenge game.